Greetings, beings. Reverend Jakob Martinez here, Crystal Haiku Guy from ArtLove.me. Welcome back for your February readings. Happy birthday to all fellow Aquarians. 40th birthday this Friday. Woo! Sun's in the house. Feeling good. And also, happy early Valentines to all who celebrate that. I hope that this is a wonderful time in your love lives. And if it isn't, hopefully we've got some messages to uncover some clarity for you. I've actually been getting some great responses on my down and dirty personals and would like to invite you to take a look at my services page and my testimonials page at artoflove.me. Let me know if I can do a Zoom for you for either that or a Zoom into the next year of your life with a future forward reading, guaranteed literally to put a smile on your face and help remove some of the things that have been obfuscating your path by blocking your mind as to what the situation is before you now. I would recommend that you also take a look at your sun, your moon, and your rising signs. Here, you're just looking for the free readings. The front end of all of these messages tends to be a little bit full of channeled messages and sometimes specific stories that are given to me by spirit. I do interpret energies that are given to me. I'm an intuitive, and so the way that I see and experience the energies are the things that I'm going to share with you here. I can't postulate in specific for each and every person here in detail since this is a general reading. If you would like for me to take that Zoom direct for you, though, like I said, you can send an inquiry to me directly, prayer@fatheroftribes.com, or click services at the top of artoflove.me to learn how I do my readings. I have broken down all of the messages into 4 videos as a part of the Tarot by Tribe series, one for each of the tribal elements, broken down by tribes or signs. My guides talk to me in a very tribal sort of manner, and that's how I actually speak about the signs here. So know that those terms are interchangeable. If you don't like to see the channeled messages at the beginning, feel free to jump ahead by going into the description box under each of the videos, click on Show More, and you can just click on whichever one of the chapters pertains to the sign of interest to you. I am not the person that's going to tell you what your gender is. I'm pretty sure you are aware of your own gender and the gender of the people around you. And I'm also not going to be ridiculous in assuming that it has anything to do with how your attractions may or may not unfold. So please feel free to swap out the genders that make most sense if the stories actually even pertain to you. And I'm also going to take for granted that you are 18 plus, since this is a mature audiences only channel. Please tune out if you're not considered a legal adult where you are. And also if you're somebody that doesn't like strong messages and language, because it's going to come up with me. So please know that in advance, and also use your own discernment. Sometimes the message might not resonate for you. This is going to be a couple weeks in advance. I'm recording these on the 30th of January. They're good through the first part of February or thereabouts. And some things might not resonate right now. And it's also possible that come a little bit later in the month, they might. So my recommendation is just do your own soul due diligence on yourself. See what feels into your space here. You might get a sensation in your body if it's for you or not, or just know right away. And if it isn't, feel free to discard it or just pop it in the back of your mind and pull it out if it makes sense later at some point in time. So I'm going to break these down using 5 different decks. I use the Carolyn Mace archetype cards for the challenge style energy. I'm going to use the John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle deck for the mental sector. For the physical material realm, we look with the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck, and then we use 2 of Doreen Virtue's decks to seal them up. One for the personal / sometimes romance sector. That's going to be the Romance Angels deck. And for the finale, I like to seal them all up with a prayer and a little practical advice from Archangel Michael using the Archangel Michael deck. So that's what I got for you, and I hope that you enjoy the readings. And if so, thumbs up, share it with a friend, subscribe. All very much appreciated. We'll catch you on the inside of your reading. What's going on, Fire Tribes? Happy February to you. Clearing the space here. I cut the air tribes a little while ago, and I've been reminded of some of the messages that came up there. There's been a lot of intensity while I've been clearing the space between that reading and this one here, and being told now is a really good time for some of y'all to look at that. I'm just going to hold it there for a second and ask that the calibration of universal intelligence be sent to you. The power of that carnelian stone here to help ground your lower chakras. There's a lot of swirling going on here, and the soundtrack that just followed it all was pretty freaking awesome. It was on point. And I'm not going to break it all down. I will just tell you that some of the similar messages were coming up flip side-ish for the air tribes and their channeled section. So you might have air in your chart or be dealing with some people that have air in their natal constitution. Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, possibly Sun, Moon, Rising. I was getting some interesting messages there. One of them that they're showing me again, and I just saw it again, but from the inside of the car, was, I don't know if any of you all have seen the movie Saved. It's pretty hilarious. It's sort of a satirical look on organized religions, namely Christianity, as portrayed in a pretty lighthearted sort of comedy that's, I think, very intelligently done. And there was a scene with a character named Hilary Faye where she kind of like goes bananas, and she takes off in her her handicap-friendly minivan and like crashes into this big Jesus poster that she actually like put up. It's a huge like statue of Jesus, and she like tripped out because some plans that she had created to help her deal with a personal situation that she was not dealing with very kindly with regard to others. She kind of orchestrated this elaborate little plot and, blew up on her at the worst time. And then, instead of just having like a come to Jesus about it, she decided to like go bananas and, behind the wheel of her vehicle and like crash into this really big statue that she'd actually like painted herself and like donated to her school. It's kind of a funny thing. But I was seeing somebody doing something like this, and at first it was kind of funny the way they were showing it to me, and then I started getting some cautionary notes about it while I was sharing it with the air tribes, because at first I just thought it was funny seeing somebody wig out like that, because it was kind of just, comical, and it reminded me of the movie. But the cautionary note is that in some cases, I was seeing this as like a legit thing that could happen with somebody who loses it, and they were showing me at a social event, and I just have to show you, because this card actually showed up exactly like this for, I believe it was Gemini, and, maybe you're dealing with a Gemini, or having a Gemini person in your life, or, you have Gemini in your own chart, or perhaps going to see a situation that might have been otherwise a really freaking good time, I'm hearing it might be an engagement party or something. And somebody, like, I literally see them this time from the inside of the car, like somebody behind the wheel. I just saw the hands, and they're, like, wigging out. I just feel them angry, and they're just, like, taking off, and I saw them, like, going up on the curb, and, and then I just checked out on it. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but it was kind of weird, and I was just being told that for a lot of people, it's just important to temper some of the urges and some of the like more primal base oriented like stuff that pulls on us, especially any time that there might be elevated emotions or expectations that we have for ourselves or others, needing to elicit a certain response to feel a certain way, fill in whatever your blank is. And so I was just told to like grab this and put a calibration out here for anybody that's watching it and ask for safety for all. And that it not only protect us, but the ones that we're dealing with, so the situations are divinely protected for all involved. And, just going to put it out there. It's February, and so you know, sometimes people have an idea of the way things are supposed to go, you know, based on what we have been told is the norm or what should be expected at this time. And so that can carry a big weight for a lot of people, and it can really bring out alternate sides to people's personalities that we're not necessarily used to seeing. And that came really strong with some of the things that I was seeing and hearing just while I was kind of spinning around cleaning the space in here and shuffling decks and stuff between the first readings and, you know, what I'm about to do now. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and just start shuffling while I'm talking to you. But they were wanting me to remind you all that this Venus retrograde situation that's like here before us all now, I'm not going to get into too much detail on that. I don't consider myself the foremost astrologer, although I follow astrology pretty well. I'm more of an intuitive, and I'm hearing a message from the gods just to remind some of y'all to maybe take a look into Venus retrograde and what that's all about, because it might give you a lens on some of the things that are showing up before you now, even within your own self. And I'm being told that this is a good call to action for our own psyche. And I throw myself in this category too, because I'm a really moony person, and my moon is in Leo. So a lot of times I come off more like a Leo than an Aquarius, which I actually am. My birthday is this week. So I understand what it's like to be motivated by the fire, and especially at a time where we are being, in many cases, re-approached by opportunities and people that may have come before, you know, now that it's coming back into orbit, there are some things that might be stirred up on the emotional front in and within you, like around your life, and also, you know, just inside of your own primal urges to act a certain way or be a certain way. And it would just be a really good time to pay attention to what the feelings are before you just validate it with your, you know, giving it your energy. And I'm being told that for a lot of you, you're going to realize like what a great job you've done of kind of parenting the sporadic, excited child inside of you that maybe didn't receive that kind of loving guidance that was so nurturing and kind as you've learned to become to yourself. And it's going to come in handy, because I'm hearing in some cases there might be some funky kinds of reunions that just happen, whether or not you're expecting them. So sometimes it might be like a surprise thing. It doesn't have to be somebody coming to surprise you specifically, although in some situations I was literally seeing somebody going and like crashing some kind of party. It looked like an engagement party or something to me, the way they were showing it, but it doesn't have to be. And in other cases, it's just like, you know, when these planets move around the way they do, the thing is that people that are symbolized by what that energy is attached to here in the material realm, they just kind of get sucked into the orbit. And so it's like, you know, it could be like random ass happenstance sort of situations where you kind of bump into something like this or a person, and it would just be really good to remind you that those things that were obstacles and challenges before you with regard to how you would have responded before don't necessarily have to be true now. It's like things have changed. And I'm being told to remind some of y'all how much your energy has kind of like ascended within you and given you new ways to do things. And part of that is like a soul exorcism is what I'm being told. And a lot of it has to do with just the way the planet's been shifting and the way things have been shifting around us to really draw up some of the extreme parts of our own psyche and our own willingness to participate from that base level, due in large part to what we're seeing in the world around us. And just realizing, wow, these are the areas where I can stand to not look like that I don't like. on my TV, and however that might be playing out for you. So I'm just being told to remind you all to be really gentle and kind with yourself, especially if you find yourself in one of those situations that might have kind of uprooted you to react in a certain way. And just remember that you're in control. And then in a lot of cases, you are just basically responding as like just the parent to the child that used to have the brat attacks in some cases, and allow yourself to be a little amazed and impressed with how much you've grown. Because I'm hearing that's going to be a great tact for a lot of us. And the other message that came up, I'll actually show you, is they gave me a card here. I'll show you right up. It's the Archangel Michael card that showed up, was sense of humor. And I was just being told that it's just a good thing to have in mind this time of year. Whether or not, you're doing all the romance stuff, it's a good time to have the sense of humor. It's always a good time to have a sense of humor. It's just good for you on a soul level to get some laughs, and, the chemicals that are released are really good for your brain and for your psyche and for how you just feel and are going to interact with others. So give yourself some of that. But also, especially if you're like hanging on to anything and you find yourself like in a situation where, because I'm being told some people are going to be a little disappointed. There was a strong Aquarius vibe coming with this one. I actually saw the star reversed, which is like, the star is like an Aquarius card. And granted, we're in Aquarius season right now too, so it could have something to do with that and the expectations that loom there. But I was seeing in some cases that some people are just going to have certain expectations that maybe aren't met, and that it would just be good when you find yourself in the situations where you're like, wow, I didn't realize I was hanging on to that, to just allow yourself to kind of find some humor around you somewhere and let yourself off the hook a little bit for the things that maybe you didn't realize were so important to you, because all this is about is you growing as a human being. So, you can't be doing that wrong. But having said that, you don't have to go through so much pain in the process. So, if you notice something happening and you're like, wow, I didn't realize I was like needing this from this person or whatever, hey, maybe it's time to go outside and walk around the block, or, call up a friend, or, hang out with your dog, or, just do something that's going to make you feel a little bit better and try to find a chuckle. So I was told by the guys we're going to go Leo, Sag, Aries. We just have 2 more decks to shuffle. Oh, the other thing too, New Love was like all over this too. I was just hearing like a lot of songs come up too, like I was mentioning. It was like a crazy just soundtrack just started playing, and one of them was cracking me up. I kept hearing, can't keep your eyes off my fatty daddy, I want you. The Drunken Love song, Beyonce. And I was just seeing like a whole bunch of New Love stuff, and some of it was really awesome. They were giving me a lot of like obsession sort of messages with the air tribes too, but in some cases I was seeing that it was like really awesome romances that have been coming together where people are just like totally enjoying it like to the max, and it actually being like a situation where it's like kind of safe to be obsessed, which is new for a lot of people, I'm sure. And in other cases, it was like the shadow side of that, where it was like the person showing up like angry and like crashing into things and like doing like a Wedding Crashers / Hillary Faye from Saved moment. And yeah, really interesting. So, temper your emotions, please. And you might want to consider getting a piece of card, whether or not your love life's going great. That's always a good thing to have, just especially if you have fire in your chart. Oh, that's another thing. I was getting some major throat issues, or throat issues while I was shuffling before I turned on the camera. I was like coughing up all kinds of stuff. And this has not been happening to me at all day. So I was hearing about a lot of like throat chakra stuff and about people that have waited to the proverbial last moment to like speak now is how they were showing it to me. And so I'm just going to encourage you all to, maybe look into, not only like the carnelian and some lower chakra balancing, but also just maybe practicing even saying the things that you need to say to yourself in the mirror. Like look at yourself in the eye and just say the things even if nobody's around. And if you can't do that, that's probably a really good sign that it's time to do some grounding and do some root work, because if you can't even say that to yourself and like look yourself in the eyes, it's kind of like putting a lot of stress both here and like also in your tendency to maybe want to act out on some of the shadow side assets of fire. So you might want to look into what your super skills are as a fire constitution. Look up your special superhero traits as, a Sag, Leo, or Aries, and focus on that stuff right now. And anything that feels like it's like too restless, try to give it a little healing right now, especially, if it has anything to do with love and romance, and it's like just the looming thing about Valentine's Day. Now's a really good time to start working on it too, because that's only going to increase. The pressure starts to build and build the closer you get to these like milestone days. So it might just be good to kind of work with that. And I'm hearing sound therapy will be really good for some of y'all. So I'm going to leave you with that and drink a little bit of this special juice here, and then we're going to start with Leo. Hey, what's shaking, Leo? Happy February to you. Hope you're great. And happy early Valentine's to all y'all who celebrate it. Going to flip your cards. All right. Well, Leo, I'm hearing some of y'all need to know whether or not something is worth going for. And I'm hearing smooth sailing for a lot of you. And I want you to keep it on your mind here. This 8 that says positive movement forward is the John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle version of the 8 of Pentacles. And so I'm also just going to jump to your personal / romantic sector. It says make the effort. So these two together, I'm getting a good yes on that, and in some cases that's also going to have a romantic connotation, and in other cases it's just purely about what's going on in your life that deems positive movement forward. These are general readings, so you can apply them to however they fit in your life, if they do. Your overall archetypal energy for the first part of February, Leo, using the Carolyn Mace archetype cards, is the heroine card, which I freaking love. And I keep hearing Aries, the shiny Aries here. And they said something about forging ahead in innocence. So if you're the person with Aries in your chart and dealing with the Aries, they wanted me to jump right to your prayer card here about doing things in innocence. And I'm hearing to just be mindful of the fragile things that might come to you, is what I'm hearing. Okay, so I'm going to back up here again on the archetype card here, Leo, and just going to read you what it says off the card, because this is your challenge style energy, so it's quite possible that this is how you're sort of embodying your own energy, or how others might be around you. And if for nothing else, it could be a situational awareness clue to keep in mind as the month progresses. Straight up the card, it says, light attributes. Passion for a journey of personal empowerment. Shadow attributes state escapism and false sense of heroism. And that's a cautionary note. They're saying to make sure that you're not stepping outside of this space here And I'm hearing being an egomaniac for somebody. You know, they're highlighting false sense of heroism. And so I'm hearing that, you know, if that appeals to you, it's cool to be how somebody's like coming at you. You might notice somebody's like kind of a braggart, that it might be a good time to, in some cases, find a kind way to reel back your own judgment of that person, because, you know, not everybody has learned to kind of deal with their own emotions and ego in a positive way. And so sometimes it might be worth like making the effort to kind of just put the kibosh on how you go off on this person, is how they're saying it to me. In other cases, it's just really a call to be mindful of how you're demonstrating what you might perceive as your own prowess. But it's kind of a light note, because we are getting the positive movement forward here, and I'm hearing that, you know, the more that you embody the light attributes, the more coins going to follow that. And so it's really good to keep that in mind, and you needed to know if what you're doing is worth it. I'm hearing it's damn worth it, you know, so, you know, go on with your guys' stuff. I'm going to go ahead and open up the Canis Archetype deck book. Get you an expanded view on that hero-heroine card. I was literally seeing somebody busting in on something with a flash mob. That's really cute. I just saw somebody, like, look like a proposal, but it was like a surprise, and somebody put a lot of time, and I'm hearing money and thought into how they were going to do this, and they might have gone somewhere far. Like, I'm seeing somebody climbing a mountain here, but somebody went somewhere. This might happen, sorry if I'm ruining it, but I'm hearing somebody went to great lengths to make an effort, and they literally were showing up to, I'm seeing this as a flash mob. This is the physical material realm card that I use before I start reading the book. I just got this like vision, and it was really super clear. This Six of Cups, using the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck, showing up in the physical material realm, could have an implication on how a situation is showing up in your life. For some people, this is going to be, you know, somebody from the past, something from the past coming back. Highly plausible with the Venus retrograde energy amidst us. But the way I was seeing this wasn't anything to do with that specifically. It was somebody, well, it might have been. I was seeing somebody literally going out of their way to surprise somebody. And it might have been somebody from their past. You know, it could be past life love or something too. Sometimes that's how these cards show up for different people. But this individual showed up, and it was like a whole flash mob situation. People just started dancing, and like, you know, the guy came out serenading and was like proposing marriage to somebody. And hey, if this is you and you're planning to do it, and you're like wondering if it was worth the money that you've like put into this and all the time, I hear she's gonna freaking dig it, and she's gonna be like very, very surprised, and you know, that it's gonna be well taken. So that was really cool. I hope I didn't ruin anybody's surprise, but yeah, they're saying, you know, it was totally worth it. I've actually seen you guys like going on a really killer honeymoon. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just back up again here to the hero-heroine card, because this is your archetypal energy. It's going to be like the challenge for the first part of the month, as I mentioned. You know, here's what it says in the book. Hero-heroine. See also knight and warrior. 3 bullet points in the tip. First bullet point states, confront increasingly difficult obstacles to awaken an inner spiritual power and achieve a heroic vision that ultimately serves the tribe. The second one says, conquer survival fears that might compromise the journey of empowerment. The third one says, shadow hero, heroine succeeds only by disempowering others. And the tip to keep in mind is to look for a history of facing and overcoming odds in both the material and spiritual realms. So they're saying it's like all about the championship of your spirit, Leo, is what I'm hearing. And I'm actually hearing that somebody is like really right now being faced with how much they've grown, and I'm hearing a lot of it had to do with giving up an addiction. They're showing me somebody that was being very reckless with innocent people, like how gentle, kind things that were coming for help like this were showing up to them, and how they were abusing. I'm seeing alcohol. They're showing me some person. I'm seeing a guy here that just likes to fucking drink a lot and like talk real big here and kind of be a little reckless with those gentle things in his hands. And I'm actually seeing, though, that this is like a time where he's like realizing how much he grew. I'm saying he loosely. They're showing me a male person. It can be anybody, she, he, they. If it resonates to you, put whatever gender makes sense, okay? But I'm just seeing this person actually feeling really good about how they did things, because it's like, the way they're showing it to me, it's like they used to lie to themselves and others about what they were doing and how they were doing it. And it was just kind of like, I don't know, just sort of like base level stuff that they were learning to overcome in themselves, and they might have been carrying on in ways that weren't so graceful, is how I'm seeing it, you know. You keep showing me this false sense of heroism and somebody actually taking the drink and just like knocking back a six-pack or something at night. And I'm just seeing them like, you know, talking down to people is how they were showing it to me. But that right now, it's like this person is realizing where they grew from to find themselves in a much better situation now, where they've literally taken themselves to a new direction. And I'm hearing that, you know, they're showing me it being a little bit because this person's feeling alone right now, is how I'm seeing it. And it's like, you know, on this boat here where the person's going, it's like they're all by themselves, you know, and that the person is just kind of maybe like kind of reminiscing on things. And the caution here is to not feel like, you know, too bad, because, you know, if you're remembering all that stuff, especially if you're finally in touch with, wow, I used to kind of be somebody I didn't want to be around now, you can kind of make yourself feel bad, you know. And so they're just saying, just remember that you were worth all the efforts to get you to the place where you are right now. And they're really showing you like championing your life. And so you were like wondering if you were worth that investment. I'm getting a hell yeah, Leo. So, you know, good for you. Good for you. And just remember that, you know, escapism is also one of the cautionary notes on the shadow side. So, you know, if you are feeling alone or something too, just remember you might just be triggered. And if there was an addictive past, now might be the time to make an effort to, you know, go to a group, call a friend, you know, find somebody that gives you the right kind of hug so that you can stay in that, you know, elevated posture that you've given yourself. Because even if you haven't ascended, you know, or summited the top of whatever that peak is that you're trying to climb, these are really awesome energies, and I feel like they're trying to show you how much you've grown. And so please try to keep that one in mind if you're feeling like desperate. And, you know, anytime I see like red with stuff like this here too, and I was getting so much call at the beginning, you might want to check the channel messages for root chakra balancing. That's a heavy piece of carnelian. And I'm hearing that, you know, grounding the base chakra and like the root chakra, it'd be really, really awesome for you right now. In some cases, I'm hearing, you know, some Leos just found something really beautiful is what I'm hearing. And, you know, this card right here, you know, a lot of times I've seen this show up when there's a very strong connection to a love that came from a previous time. It doesn't have to be a past life. You might believe in past dimensional experiences, as do I. But in other cases, it's just, you know, something from another time in your life. And I'm thinking it might be something that you want to take advantage of, or maybe not take advantage of, but an opportunity you might want to seize this time. It actually showed up right. And so I'm hearing in some cases like something that's come back into the orbit. You know, you might just be ready to grab it. I'm hearing in some cases it might have been going on like 4 or 5 years for some people, and now it's just like finally the right time to seize that opportunity and to literally make the effort. This card says, great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. So You know, if you're a single person, that might be the case. It could also be the case with something related to money, because the showing up in your mind here, this 8, it's a Pentacles card. If you're referencing Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck, that's your 8 of Pentacles, which is literally the craftsman. It's like diligent at work, doing something beautiful, sometimes tuning out on the rest of what's going on in life because they're so focused on it, and they literally have their nose to the grindstone making that effort. I'm hearing in some cases you just need to know that it's okay to like break it up a little bit here, especially if something else that's going to bring life balance into focus is there. Once, because this is pretty grounded material to get up to the 8 like that. It's it's something that's very balanced most times, and we are seeing here a heroine. So in some cases, it might just be the right time to go ahead and open up your arena to some of the other ideas of what prosperity could mean that might not always have a direct implication on coin, but it also bring another greater sense of stability. Because if this is a person showing up for you and you're looking for that, or maybe it's somebody that's already in your life, it could even be your existing relationship. Maybe you're just stabilizing things and just being asked to like be a little bit more romantic and try to recapture some of that sweetness and innocence with your loved one, okay? In other cases, it's literally just saying, you balance things very well in your life. There might be more that's worth opening up to at this time. That's how I'm seeing it. And I'm hearing you can take it on too, Leo. So for some of y'all, you're going to know that you can actually have your cake and eat it too, like in a really positive, soul-fulfilling way. So in some cases, though, this might have to do with people that you're dealing with that just have water element in their constitution. So that could very well be people that have a strong sway of Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, and perhaps their sun, moon, or rising if this is not you yourself. And I love this card. And anytime it shows up right, I mean, it's a really good indication. We're getting a lot of like, reemergence of old loves and opportunities coming back into orbit due to that, Venus coming retrograde. And I gotta say, I mean, it didn't show up upside down. It showed up right side up here. So in some cases, you might just find yourself in the company here for the next couple of weeks with people that are worth taking time to be with, especially if you've just been working a lot up to this point and you see yourself kind of sailing off into better times where the money's real good and you're feeling grounded. And, I'm hearing it's a good time because when it shows up like this is somebody you can like really be yourself with. It's somebody that there's no pretenses with, and where, it's kind of like, a more innocent time in your life that it might evoke. A lot of times people will take this back to like, childhood friendships and the way things were in a more nostalgic, less burdensome time in our lives. So it could be really cool how that shows up for you, Leo. I'm really happy to see it there. And let's break this card up a little bit here. The mental sector card that showed up, this 8 positive movement forward, aka 8 of Pentacles. It's going to have a greater expanded definition here in the book by John Holland. And wow, opened right up to the page right when I thumbed it. So probably pretty important for some of y'all. Just going to read it to you here. You, a true artisan. For you have the craft, skills, knowledge, gifts, and talents to assist you even more to advance in a positive direction. Number 8 always denotes prosperity and abundance, but in this case, it's your efforts that have gotten you to this point. Good for you. This card often comes... Good for you, Leo. I got choked while I was saying it. I'm hearing that some of y'all don't know how to take the compliment. Wow. They're saying something about heart healing. Seeing this little kid here dressed in green, and like all this green while these people are getting up to the top of the mountain. I'm hearing heart healing. It's okay to admit when you're good, and that doesn't necessarily make you a false hero, That's like learning how to balance your ego. So take the credit if it's yours. Good for you. This card often comes forth to honor and recognize individuals who are in the fields of art, design, music, and education. You follow and build on your passion. The soul can truly express itself and then assist you to move closer to your highest good. An opportunity could suddenly come up with an offer for an apprenticeship. Notice that there are areas of passion that are trying to manifest into your world. When they arise, you'll have ample moments to share them with others. I'm hearing in some cases, the apprenticeship is actually what you're going to be offering, because some people are going to be looking to you as the hero. So that might be a big challenge for some people who maybe don't know how to take the compliment yet, because it seems like a lot. And in some cases I'm hearing it's because of how they've refined their spirit and how they've addressed things with innocence and purity in their heart. That's really wonderful. If that's for you, God bless you. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the personal/romance sector. Got the Dream Virtues Romance Angel card. Make the effort. Great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take, Leo. So in some cases, might very well have to do with feeling on top of the world because you've found a match that is just as badass as you are. I'm hearing in some cases y'all just know how to meet in the middle, even if you came from opposite sides. And then in some cases, this is about a trip, you know, to greater horizons that's on the mind. In some cases, I'm hearing you might even be thinking about relocating to somewhere where this one that's on the other side of the mountain is, and that, hey, you might need to know that the signs look good for you to keep going with that. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the book and tell you what it says in there, because in some cases, this is all about your romantic life. In other cases, it might purely be about new directions that you're taking and how well you're championing life, as I mentioned before. Here's what the book says for you. You receive this card because some action steps on your part are necessary in order for your prayers about your love life to be answered. The angels have opened the doors for you, and now it's time for you to walk through them. The first thing that comes to mind with respect to taking action is a good starting place for you. When you ask for spiritual help, you always receive it. Often this help comes in the form of intuitive guidance, which consists of repetitive feelings and thoughts. You get that sense that you should do this or that. You receive this card as a nudge to actually take that action. You'll then receive the next piece of the puzzle, meaning another intuitive message about what to do. If you like it, you can ask the angels to give you the motivation, courage, time, and energy to take these steps. Know that each one brings you closer upon the pathway to great love, if you want it. And even if it's just for you, just remember, you're always worth the effort, especially if there's something that you're literally working at to put yourself in a more ascended position within your own energy where you are actually feeling like things are prosperous and going forward in a good direction. So I'm hearing it's going to be a great time for that, Leo. And I'm really excited. Hey, my moon's in Leo, so I love seeing good cards like this. And if you were wondering about, you know, whether that person that's been coming to you kind of innocent and lovingly is all that, I'm just seeing like really sweet energy here. You know, there's a lot of like purity and innocence, and so, you know, I'm hearing some of y'all need to know that, because they're showing me that some people have like options. You know, if this is you that's on top here, you've got options, and I'm hearing you might want to know that this person is like an equal. And so I know somebody needed to hear that, so I hope it applies if you needed it. And I'm actually going to leave you on the innocence tip from Archangel Michael and seal it up with your prayer here, Leo. Dear God and angels, thank you for helping me see that all of your qualities of pure love and light are reflected within me and in all others. Help me embrace my God-given innocence so that I may be at peace. David. Alright, Leo, that's what I got. Hope you liked it. I hope that your Valentine's is awesome. I think it might be for somebody. I hear somebody might be really impressed with your plans. So take it if it's yours, and hit me up if I can do personal for you. Go to artylove.me and check out my services up at the top and see the different ways I can help you dissect your situation so you have a better understanding of what's going on if you need it. And if I can just do a prayer for you, hit me up at prayer@fatheroftribes.com. I'd be happy to do it. If I don't hear from you, I'll just see you again in a couple of weeks when I'm back for your mid-monthly. Alright, take it easy. I'm going to clear up here a little bit and light something, and then we're going to do Sagittarius. What's going on, Sagittarius? Happy February to you. Hope you're doing great, and happy early Valentines to all those who celebrate. Gonna flip your cards. Nice. Well, I feel like something might be coming clear for some Sagittarians. There's a lot of feedback around that. First of all, I left your Romance Angels card up on the stack instead of having it here, and they're telling me to jump here for some of y'all. Deception. Someone is wearing a false self-mask in this relationship. Now, this doesn't have to be romantic. It can be for a lot of y'all. In other cases, this might just be something in the personal sector that's taking shape. I'm hearing for some of y'all, it's realizing somewhere where you didn't realize you had a lot of expectation invested on how something was going to return to you. You need to know, right now, it's a time to believe and trust, okay? And you're going to know if that's for you or not and how believing and trusting applies, because in some cases, it's all about realizing where belief and trust has been misplaced, whether it's in, the self or others. And so take that if it's yours. There are some cautionary notes aside, and I'm just going to go ahead and start where I normally start, which is with the overall archetypal energy for the first part of the month here, Sagittarius, using the Mix archetype cards. You've got the damsel showing up. Keep it in mind, because this might be how somebody else is acting around you. This might be how you're tempted to feel. This could just be a situational awareness clue about how situations could unfold around you. And when we see the deception here, it could get interesting. I'm hearing in some cases this is about the love games that people play, with this, oh, help me, I need you, kind of stuff, to call forward, in some cases, an ex that might be on your mind, or their mind, or someone's mind, because it's showing up on the mind here using the John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. We've got the 6 Memories of Love card showing up, a.k.a. 6 of Cups. That card actually just showed up in the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck, which is what we use for the physical material realm in the Leo reading. So I'm hearing in some cases there might be a Leo connection here. Maybe you have Leo in your chart. You might want to flip back to Leo. You might also want to watch the channel messages because things were coming up. And with Venus retrograde, very possible that people's emotions could be stirred in a way where it's like feeling like you just need that rescue, or like, oh, are they going to come back? And, sometimes they do, not always for the reasons that are exactly on the surface. So this might be a tip to know to trust yourself and your inner guidance and believe where it feels like it's warranted. Okay, so hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense to you if that applies, but Damsel did show up. I'm going to read you what the card says. Light attributes. Understanding the nature of healthy romance inspires you to rely on yourself. Shadow attributes state. Waiting for a knight to provide for you. Seduction by romantic illusion. So in some cases I'm hearing it might have been, you know, a false front. In other cases it might have just been games of love, or it might be. But there's a cautionary note here. Let me just tell you, make sure you're watching all those eggs that you might have in one basket here, Sag, because the Ten of Pentacles did show up upside down here. You know, it's reversed in the physical material realm using the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck. I really love this card. It's a legacy card. It's a card about completion, about supportive, protective things that have been earned and that are justified and that give us a grounded sense of security in a way that looks loving. You know, there's a couple here. They got the dogs and the kid and the old dude, and it's like there's money just like all over the place, and they're like protected under this thing, you know. So it's a great card to show us whatever feelings that evokes for you, you know, those things that I just said. And when it shows up like this, well, you kind of want to make sure that you're not putting your trust or your eggs in baskets that don't necessarily warrant it. In other cases, I'm just hearing that that is purely, like if this is you in some cases, Sagittarius, I'm hearing this is like the person that's just like, oh my God, there's this thing, and I've got like all these emotions and ideas wrapped up in what it's supposed to go like, and almost feeling like they're holding on to it a little too tight because there's a lot of expectation about how it's supposed to unfold, and maybe it hasn't been happening fast enough. And, you know, I say fast enough. You know, what's fast enough for a Sagittarius? You know, when you want something, you fucking want it. I know it. You know, you guys are not known for having the greatest patience when you want something, right? And, you know, if it's something that's stirring you up in all those ways, if you have somebody feeling a little unsettled, especially around Valentine's Day, right? So, in some cases, I'm hearing that you need to know that you're not really powerless. And I was seeing something about somebody kind of being lied to in a kind way. It wasn't a bad thing. It was just like somebody is trying to surprise another person, and that this is literally them just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, and just, you know, having all the feels, and all the feels being on their mind, and like they're just kind of like losing their marbles. And it's just being a time for you to know that it's okay for you to just keep on believing and trusting, because nothing's really happening that's like bad in some situations, and that can't be true for everybody. In some cases, there are absolutely some cautionary notes here for you. Sorry, make sure this doesn't start playing. And, you know, you just need to kind of make sure that your mind is in a proper place with how you're looking at the situation. Okay? Because here, you've got somebody that's looking into the mirror, right? And here, we've got somebody that's like looking into the false front, right? And so there's a strong cautionary note for grounding the lower chakras. And that was coming up a lot before. They had me holding up the carnelian, reminding some of y'all just to like ground your lower chakra energy, because it's going to help right now. I'm going to go ahead and open up the Carolyn May's Archetype cards book, and we're going to get an extended view on the damsel, Sagittarius. Okay, Sagittarius, damsel, aka princess. 4 bullet points in the tip. First bullet point states, always beautiful, vulnerable, and in need of rescue, specifically by a knight. Second one says, must become empowered and learn to take care of herself. The third one says that the princess is associated with romance, not distress. And the last one says, the shadow damsel accepts that women are weak and need protection. And I just gotta say something here too, because sometimes when these things get really gender specific, I feel like it can alienate people a bit. I'm in no way insinuating that I have any idea what your gender is. That is something you know. This energy is really neutral for me. Any of these things that get gendered, you know, a lot of things get gendered in life that really, it doesn't necessarily have to try to superimpose another person's gender expression or identity, but it's more about archetypes associated with how these things are viewed and how they're put into our minds with regard to roles that we're willing to play, or we find ourselves unwittingly playing. And so plenty of guys can be damsels in distress too. And I think it could be kind of, you know, important to mention that here so that nobody's feeling alienated if you're a male person watching this. You know, plenty of guys can have this damsel stuff show up. And it can also be just reflected to you from other people. So, you know, take it if it makes sense to you. But I'm going to go ahead and read to you the tip to keep in mind. Examine your young girl fantasies and expectations of a mate. Were you waiting on the arrival of your knight in shining armor, hoping to be rescued and disappointed that your expectations weren't met? I'm hearing for somebody that's actually the case, and that's why this is actually showing up here. This is the Tarot realm upside down, Sagittarius. It's the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. And I'm hearing in some cases it's just like, oh my God, when's he going to show up? And in other cases I'm hearing he did, and you might have just found out that it wasn't all that, you know. Or in other cases, just that you were holding on too tight, maybe, to an idea of how it's supposed to go, and that maybe you can just relax a little bit and believe and trust in the universe and not feel like you have to jump to 10, okay, right away. You don't have to jump to 10. Maybe it's okay to be on 6. You know, so some of this is sometimes just learning how to breathe into the space here. And I know that's not too straightforward for, you know, some fire people, because I'm not even seeing any fire here right now so much. You know, we've got like water showing up and we've got pentacles. And so this might even be unfamiliar territory. And I'm hearing for some people it's because they're literally like, oh my God, I can't believe I was holding on to things this one kind of way. And that it's because they might have somebody really special that has entered their life because of how they've let go of certain things, certain ideas. And see, that's all fire, right? There's these little votive candles, if you will, that are being set adrift into the water. And if this is you sending some of your fire out in like a gentle yin sort of fashion, that might be a whole different way to experience yourself right now, Seth. Maybe you need to ground yourself through that because it's got you feeling like, holy shit, I'm in like this new territory. I'm not used to it. This is very ungrounding to me. And in some cases, you just need to know, do something to ground yourself, lower chakras. Carnelian would be a great stone for you to work with. Time to believe and trust. In other cases, I hate to say it, I'm hearing about the one that's worth letting go of, because it was ungrounding in the physical material realm. In some cases, I'm hearing that might have an implication on somebody that's in your life that might be strong in the earth tribal elements, having to do with Pentacles, which is going to be somebody that might have a strong sway of Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo in their constitution. And that this literally might be you just kind of saying, c'est la vie, and, you know, letting that go because of the nature of healthy romance and being willing to rely on yourself. And I'm hearing in some cases, it's just like learning for somebody that, you know, the relationship belonged in the past and that it might have been, you know, I'm hearing the last straw for somebody is what they're saying. And so I'm hearing that it might have been the last straw, and that that's why it's showing up like this, that it might have been something going on for a long time. This is a 10 here. That could be 10 years. It could be 10 months. It could be a lot of things depending on which Sag you are. But when it shows up like this, next to deception, it could be a lot of things. So just keep it on your mind here, and make sure that your expectations are in alignment with really your own sense of power here, because you're really wanting me to show you here. It's about self-reliance and realizing, whether or not you're looking at the picture clearly. And I'm hearing in some cases, literally, go get some white vinegar, get a piece of newspaper, clean your mirrors, look yourself in the eye, say the difficult things that you need to say to yourself or to another person, and make sure you're seeing it clearly, because I'm hearing some of y'all, they're showing me somebody like looking at themselves through like this wobbly ass like carnival mirror, and like not believing in the thing that they're hearing, their inner voice. And it's because they're looking through a fucked up carnival mirror. Maybe, it's a carnival ass mirror that you were shown of what life was supposed to look like, and that you're not really so ungrounded. It's just really how you're seeing it. And then in some cases, you need to let that go just a little bit, because, maybe that's the deception, and not really seeing that what's before you now is something worthy of belief and trust, and that you can lovingly maybe let a little bit of that fire go. And in some cases, and I'm hearing many cases, find yourself in this situation, because I'm hearing you might have a lot more power here, and that this is a lot of how you're like viewing it yourself. And so you need to be grounding your lower chakras right now, if that applied to you. And it's just going to be helpful for you, because I'm hearing for some of you, this showed up for good reason. It's on your mind. It says memories of love, but they keep showing me soulmate too. And that in some cases, it's just like how you're allowing yourself to see it. So let's see what the book says on that. Could also have an implication of different people that you might be thinking of. Could very well be someone that's got strong water in their constitution, which could very well be somebody with, sun, moon, or rising in Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. And in other cases, it might be just kind of wishing for somebody. So I was getting a breakup message for somebody, and just like realizing the situation was ungrounding. Maybe just like realizing that that person belonged in the past is what I'm hearing. So, hit me up if you want a personal private reading. Sometimes, these can be so random depending on who you are and what's going on in your life. But, sometimes it's just helpful to, get a closer lens, especially if you're not 100% sure, and, just kind of figure out, like, root out what this means. There's different ways to do that. I'm just going to read to you what the book says on it. Here, John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle Deck book. 6 Memories of Love. On the mind. You may find yourself walking down memory lane at this time. This nostalgic card could indicate that an old friend or acquaintance from the past may step back into your life, or it could even resurrect loving images from days gone by. Does this person, these happy forgotten moments, or those innocent childhood memories encourage you to recall and welcome the energy of love? Is there a message or lesson from these fond recollections that could benefit you in your personal life? The number 6 card relates to support, dedication, unity, and a need for balance and the areas of emotions of love. Your heart and soul are asking you not to dwell in the past, but use the inspiration and joy from that time to assist you in the here and now. And like I said, very well could be possible that somebody shows up, maybe like, I need you, I want you. I'm seeing some like really strong addict messages coming up, and people coming forward from the past because they miss somebody, and in some cases, it's going to be very uprooting for some people, because it's like, I'm hearing that song, that Avril Lavigne song. You were everything, everything that I wanted. We were meant to be, supposed to be, but we lost it. My happy ending. I'm hearing, and it was coming up in the air types. You might just want to check the channel messages there if any of this is pinging for you, about somebody showing up and like crashing somebody's party. It was like an engagement party or something, and doing like the speak now or forever hold your peace, and like coming in all like reckless, and you know, maybe it's coming from a place where they feel like this, the damsel in distress, and maybe aren't trying to be deceptive, but I'm hearing in some cases that person might just be wrong in the past, and that they might just be activated because this is Venus retrograde. It can bring a lot of things out of people, so if it's resonating, grab a piece of carnelian because that might come in handy. But pay attention, you know, pay attention. And if you're feeling like that too, and like this could happen, just realize there's always a lot of expectation, especially in this world right now where people are feeling very base level motivated, just turning on the news and hearing the crazy, insane things that are happening to others. And, you know, it can bring up these like false senses of urgency to act out. And if you're feeling that, definitely keep in mind that this deception card doesn't have to be awful about other people lying to you, or, oh, you're just lying to yourself. You know, I'm not like pointing a finger at you like that, but sometimes you realize where maybe you've just been holding on too tight to something. You know, maybe it looks really good, but it's like you're kind of like hitting yourself in a negative way where, you know, it can't live up to these false expectations that you didn't realize you had. So please be gentle with yourself. Here's what the card says in the book on Deception, Romance, Angels, Oracle deck. Someone is wearing a false self mask in this relationship, Sagittarius. This card is a loving nudge for you to be aware of deception within a relationship. This could involve something mild, such as run-of-the-mill politeness, where your partner is afraid of offending you by sharing true feelings. Perhaps you're the one wearing the mask because you aren't disclosing something to your partner. Deep down, you know what this card pertains to. The romance angels are trying to protect your heart. Please say this invocation either silently or aloud. Romance angels, I ask that you give me very clear guidance that I can easily notice and understand to reveal the truth about the situation to my conscious awareness. Then notice and trust the signs that follow. This card is also a reminder to you about the importance of being genuine with your partner. Although discussing your true feelings may be uncomfortable, it will improve your relationship on many levels. And start with yourself too. Really getting a great hit on some of y'all, especially if you have something that you haven't said, you know, that you kind of like feel it bubbling up. Practice saying it to yourself. Clean up that mirror real pretty. Look yourself in the eyes. And practice saying the words that you need to say. Because I'm hearing that's really going to help you believe and trust in yourself. And to also kind of, you know, sometimes it doesn't hurt to rehearse the things that you need to say, especially if there's some throat chakra healing that needs to be in place. And I'm hearing for some of y'all, it's a great idea right now to do some throat chakra healing. So maybe look it up on YouTube and see what comes up and see if it resonates to you. I want to leave you here on the tip from Archangel Michael to believe and trust as it makes sense to do so in your life. Sagittarius, always use good discernment. Here we go. Dear Archangel Michael, please enter my dreams tonight and replace the fears with faith and trust. Let me be filled with strength, courage, and confidence. Amen. Alright, Sagittarius, that's what I got for you. I hope you liked it. I hope it made sense. And if so, hey, thumbs up, share it with a buddy. And I appreciate you. Let me know if I can do a personal private reading for you. Take a zoom into your life. artoflove.me, hit services up at the top. Check out my testimonials too. And, you know, just hit me up if you'd like a prayer too. I'd love to do that for you. Take care. God bless. And happy Valentine's Day to you if you're celebrating it. I'm going to light something here, hydrate myself a little bit, and we're going to wrap everything up on Aries. Hey, what's shaking, Aries? How you doing? Happy February to you. Happy early Valentine's to all those who are catching this. All right. Let's flip your cards and see what the month's got for you. All right. Well, Aries, you actually got the same card in the center of your reading that Gemini got. That's funny. I was hearing something about an Aries Gemini kind of thing that was going on, and about addictions. They're saying something about addictions, and I'm hearing in some cases, well, you're gonna know if this is for you or not, but I'm just gonna hold it up. It's the prayer card from Archangel Michael. I usually wrap them up with this, but just hearing that, it's a good time to honor and trust your feelings, and some people need to know that. It's a great time to do some heart healing. So I'm hearing about somebody like wanting to come to terms with an alcohol or something addiction. You're showing me a lot with addictions here, and your archetypal energy for the first part of the month here, Aries, using the Carolyn Mace archetype cards, is the hedonist. And I actually like this card a lot. I think that there's definitely ways to be a healthy hedonist. But I'm hearing a cautionary note here for somebody about either the way they're participating with somebody else or interacting with somebody that might have, like, you're showing me this is a drinking problem, and I say problem loosely. I'm not calling anybody out here. Just telling you what I heard. And this card, the 9 Fulfillment of Wishes card that's showing up on the mind, if you were referencing the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck, which is what we use for the physical material realm, in these readings here, you've got the moon showing up in reverse here. It's just a lot of water and liquid in some cases, and this card in that deck is the 9 of Cups, which sometimes I've seen is like an overindulgence in alcohol, and it's actually the same card that Gemini got on their mind. And I'm hearing about somebody that might have made some reckless decisions, and they're showing me this person here eating grapes, and I'm just seeing somebody like drowning their sorrow, and it's because something didn't happen, or I'm hearing it had something to do with just like differences that were irreconcilable, and somebody that's just like trying to deal with it. And it's interesting too. They're showing me this person, I think they're like sniffing flowers or something, but it kind of looked like they were like eating grapes or drinking something too. So I'm hearing in some cases this is like the truth coming out about, I'm hearing in some cases it might have been like an abusive situation with somebody that was drinking and like perhaps not treating somebody very well, and it being, something that they were keeping hidden because of how they were brought up to believe, whether or not it had any sort of religious or spiritual implication. This is just how I'm hearing it. I'm not here to teach anybody how to read cards, so I'm not the guy that's just going to say, this is what this card means. I'm going to tell you how I hear it from the guides, because I'm actually an intuitive, and I'm being told to remind some of y'all that you are intuitive too. And you can trust that light that comes into your heart that gives you a feeling one way or another, because you need to know that it's okay to trust that. And sometimes that's why the moon shows up in reverse for me. Physical material realm card here can take on many implications, this moon card, but the thing about the moon is that everything's in the dark when the moon is showing itself, right? So the moon kind of is content to have things somewhat obfuscated, if you will, in the dark. And when it shows up like this, it can sort of be like something coming out that had previously been in the dark. And part of the reason why I'm hearing it might be coming to light is because some of y'all have really like tapped into something within. I know this is religious, and I don't necessarily feel like it has anything to do with religion, what's going on over this individual's head here. This is somebody that's learned to call in or listen to the light that is now crowning them. And there's many different symbols here that are showing up over I'm just going to say her head. Okay, her head can be she, he, they, whomever that person is to you. But I'm hearing that it's given them a new way to discuss things that had them feeling like less of a person in some cases. And that this is the thing that's showing up on their mind too. And that all that light here is the same light that's ascended their energy, whether or not it has anything to do with religion. This is a sage person. The nines in this particular deck here, John Howell Psychic Tarot Oracle deck, these are the end of the line. So in systems like the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck, when you're looking at minor cards like what this actually is in that deck, the Nine of Cups, they go A to X, which is, 1 to 10. And in this deck, they go to 9. And this is actually fulfillment, completion, end of the entire cycle. So in terms of emotions, because a lot of times that's what the water is all about, this is like the most that you can get to in terms of having full cups. And so this is somebody that may have mastered some emotional situations, and I'm being told that there are some cautionary notes here too with being triggered by situations that might be coming to light, whether or not that's for you. This could be somebody feeling triggered around you, and if there are addictions that might be somewhat, in the past or under the surface on your end, this might be a time where this stuff is exacerbated. I'm hearing the words fever pitch, and it doesn't have to be for you necessarily, but I'm just being told to honor and trust your feelings, and that if this is something that's triggering you, now's a good time to reach out for support. And sometimes that's what this is for me too. This religious factor isn't necessarily a religious factor. This is maybe sometimes accessing things that are within whatever the requisite ideology is that's prevalent at the time, and accessing those resources to be full in that, especially if there's some support that's needed. And also I'll mention, please check the channel messages in the beginning if any of this is hitting for you, because a lot of things are coming up about grounding and reasons why. And I was hearing about somebody finding out about somebody's relationship or showing up at the church or something and literally like kind of tripping. And it doesn't have to happen to you, Aries. It could be something that you hear about. But in some cases, it might even be your party that gets busted in on by somebody that comes forward and is like, I have all the stuff that I need to like tell you about, all these emotions that have been on my mind, and I'm seeing this person with all this light on their mind and just having a real urge to honor that. And so be cautious and mindful of how you're demonstrating that. If there are things that you need to say and get off of your chest, I'm hearing it's a really good time to do some heart healing too, because it's actually going to help you see all of that stuff that you've learned in a way that's also kind to you emotionally as a human being, and as the one who's learned to, in some cases, be honest about shit that you didn't want anybody to know about. Because I'm hearing in some cases that's what this is. This might be, the stuff that has just been, not touched. It's stuff that, you didn't even want to go near in the dark. And that, it shows up like this sometimes. This is just like you being like elevated and like your emotional growth and allowing that energy to make you very creative and passionate. So sometimes hedonism can be awesome like that. And I'm feeling like I want to open up this book here and go with this one first. Your archetypal energy for the first part of the month, Carolyn Mace's archetype cards, quite possibly could be how you're tempted to act or feel. In other cases, this is how other people are coming at you. And, yeah, let's see what it says here in the book. Alright, so we've got some keywords to keep in mind, and they've given us 4 bullet points in the tip, Aries. Hedonist, bon vivant, chef, gourmet, gourmand, sybarite, and also mystic. First bullet point says, displays an appetite for pleasure in life. from good food and wine to sex and sensuality. Second one says, challenges the archetypal fear of being seduced and losing control. The third one says, parallels the search for spiritual transformation. And the last one says, shadow hedonists manifest as pursuing pleasure without the regard for other people or one's own health and well-being. Definitely a cautionary note there. And the tip to keep in mind says, look for lifelong patterns of pleasurable indulgence, either as an end in itself or as an attempt to reach transcendent states. Now I'm hearing for some of y'all, it's seriously having called in like somebody that is really healthy to kind of like be that way with, because it's like somebody that's like on the same wavelength with you in all these ways that help you feel like you are being enlightened by the light that you are. And I'm hearing in some cases, this took a long time to get to. I'm hearing for some people, it's literally like, you know, it was like a silent partnership. I'm hearing there might have been a lot of like telepathic communications they're telling you about. In some cases, this might be somebody you're kind of just like been feeling in the ethers that's been there, and it's like your mirror reflection. Like those two dogs are different. One's a dog, one's a coyote, but it's like they're kind of like mirroring each other. And I'm hearing in some cases it was something silent and quiet. In some cases it was something that they're saying it might have been like, I'm hearing about major age difference for somebody. They're actually showing me real strong this 18 here, this 18. This could be like 18 years. It could be 9 years. You know, it could be a major kind of, you know, gap. And there's another 9 showing up here over this person's head. So there's something about the number 9 that might be relevant for some of you, but I'm hearing that, you know, it might have come together in a way that wasn't fulfilled before, and that some of y'all need to know that it's like okay to like go there and be bold about it, and that it might be the person that's like it's safe to be hedonistic with. And I'm hearing in some cases, not that it's like a surrogate for the past addiction, but that they were telling me about healthy addictions a lot. I was getting it with some of the air tribes too, and about certain unions that were coming together that were just going to be like amazing, feeling like every prayer was answered and knowing whether or not you could trust it. But in some cases, it's somebody that you called in that's right on the money with you. I'm here, right on the money. And that it's like the person that is safe to celebrate life and beauty with and kind of be a healthy hedonist with. So you're going to know if that's the case. In other cases, you know, this could very well just be a cautionary note for some people about how they're allowing things that might have separated them from somebody that they felt was like a good match. And, you know, that it could be stirring up a lot of emotions, because sometimes that's what this is. I was hearing something about fever pitch, and this is fulfillment of wishes, but sometimes that doesn't always play out the way that we want. You know, sometimes everything that we wanted shows up in a way that, you know, doesn't really equate to how feels the best for us. And so, you know, you might want to pay attention to the shadow attributes there. And I'm hearing it could also have to do with an unhappy Pisces, is what I'm hearing about. About like a Pisces person that might have had a lot of hopes for more, and it just kind of being like, it couldn't get there, is what I was hearing. It was just like, they're saying it was incompatible for some reasons. I'm hearing for some reasons it might have been like an attraction thing for one reason or another, and they're saying it could just be like, you know, some fundamental differences and, you know, a mismatch there. But, you know, sometimes this is like a Pisces card for me, this moon card. And it just really depends on who you are and what resonates. But this is a very strong energy. This is a major arcana. And so it's the kind of thing that, you know, we can't always have much control over anything external when it's a major arcana showing up. And so the challenge is for us to go internal and sometimes change how we demonstrate things that are pulling on us in some way or another, especially if there's a lot of emotions that are involved. These are highly emotional situations. So I'm just hearing, you know, this is very important for some of you And that base and root level chakra balancing is going to be really, really key right now for all of you. Even if it's going great and you've, like, you know, found somebody. And I'm hearing, you know, they were saying something about a church group. It doesn't have to be a church group, but, you know, somebody that is practicing the same kind of things you are, and it just being kind of like, I'm saying really hot sex. So I hear some of y'all are going to be doing great, and just be careful that, you know, you're taking care where you need to, because it could also be overindulgent, is what I'm hearing. So, Psychic Tarot Oracle deck book on the 9 Fulfillment of Wishes, aka 9 of Cups. Going to read to you what it says here in the book. Aries. This card, being one, if not the most positive of the minor arcana cards, represents emotional satisfaction, contentment, and enjoyment. Your wishes are coming true. Are you ready? Happiness, success, good health, completion, and accomplishment of your dreams and goals are in the palm of your hand. This card acts as a reminder to hold on to the beneficial things from accepting and receiving what you've asked and strived for. Know that these will assist you in the future when you may need inspiration and positive energy. This is the right time to heal those past memories that have been holding you hostage. Forgive others and yourself so that your wishes, desires, and goals have a clear, unobstructed path to your heart, soul, and life. And I'm hearing for some of y'all, that's exactly why this is upside down. That this is actually just like finally coming very aware of what it is that is within your inner workings emotionally, and it not like tripping up in your mind anymore. And I'm hearing in some cases that this is actually literally being able to turn the page on that and realizing yourself in like light attributes of the hedonist. And in some cases, I'm just hearing the one who overcame the addiction. That's what they're saying to me. So go you, high five, high 10, way to go. Go on with your bad self. And get yourself some support right now if you need it. I don't trust your feelings, because I'm hearing that's actually what got some of y'all right there, where you can be standing in that otherwise rather precarious situation as the divine one with the lighted path that's standing there with like a treasure chest and like sacred wisdom and like heart healing. So, you know, that's you. Way to go. This could just be saying that you are facing yourself in a way where maybe in some cases you're just kind of like addicted to like your new, like, I say spiritual path, in finger quotes. Anyway, I'm not going to get into how people use that word and how it annoys me at times, but, you know, realizing how you have allowed your emotional growth to light your path. And I'm hearing in some cases that's what this is. But in the personal / romance sector, the religious factors card states your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. I'm going to read you what the book says, because we have an expanded definition here for you. It says, this card reveals that religion and spirituality are subtle but important factors in your love life. Perhaps you're looking for a relationship with a partner who shares your spiritual beliefs. If so, this card comes to you as guidance to seek your new partner at the church, temple, or meeting place associated with your faith. If you're currently with a partner who isn't spiritually minded or whose beliefs differ markedly from your own, you may feel dissatisfied. Which could also be why that's upside down. You may also be influenced by family traditions that expect you to marry within your own culture or religion. The romance angels are helping you address this issue, and they ask you to remain true to yourself during the process. Decide which factors you will and won't accept in your relationship, and what your priorities are for your partner. For instance, it's possible that your love interest may live the spiritual principles that you find important. For example, forgiveness, charity, kindness, and the like, without having the same religious affiliation that you do. The angels remind you that your partner, like everyone, is a holy child of God. Everyone is spiritual in truth, because everyone is spirit. Although it's not up to you to change your partner to match your spiritual path, your affirmations, prayers, and visualizations can have positive influence on both you and your relationship. So take this if it's yours here, Aries, because they're saying now's a really good time to start trusting everything that you've allowed to help grow you to this state, and that if that's not on your mind yet, now's a great time to kind of let yourself off the hook, especially if you find yourself ruminating over things that you did wrong or should have done differently or weren't so high-minded or spiritually oriented or any of that stuff that can kind of get in your mind and make somebody feel like drinking even if they don't drink. Because sometimes that's all this is. It's like pulling on base level motivations and dragging you down when now's a really good time to actually just see how much you've grown. And I'm getting those 2 9s here. I'm hearing that might be a very important number for some of y'all. It's a very spiritual number. So perhaps look at the numerology around that one because it might resonate. And in some cases, I'm being told this has everything to do with something that came to the surface, in September. So that might be interesting for you to look into as well. And I'm just going to go ahead and leave you on the practical advice and tip from Archangel Michael to honor and trust your feelings. Aries, here we go. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for supporting, guiding, and protecting me as I listen to and act upon my feelings. Help me understand and express my emotions with love. Amen. Alright, Aries, that's what I got for you. Hope it made sense and hope you liked it. And if so, thumbs up. Share it with a friend. Hit me up if you'd like a personal reading. Go to artoflove.me, click services up at the top, see how I offer my readings. And also read what people say about working with me in the testimonial section. And if you have any questions or would like a personal prayer, hit me up at prayer@fatheroftribes.com. I'd love to do that for you. And hey, have a happy Valentine's Day if you're celebrating it. If not, I'll see you again in a couple of weeks when I'm back for your mid-monthly readings. Bye for now.